Hello students, we are here to discuss adjectives which are part of UG first year, first semester English of Kakatiya University. You know, adjectives are part of parts of speech. You might have learnt about parts of speech. Parts of speech include nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. In the previous classes, we discussed nouns and pronouns. In continuation of the parts of speech, after nouns and pronouns, we are here to discuss adjectives. So before we discuss the significance of adjectives in learning English, look at this paragraph, a very small passage. Read the following passage and observe the underlined words. Villages are the backbone of India. Major part of vegetables, cereals, pulses, rice and wheat are grown and transported from villages. Farmers work hard for the sake of the nation. In fact, rural life is better than urban life. The dwellers of cities lead a busy life. Their environs are polluted, whereas villagers lead a relaxed and peaceful life. So we have taken a very small paragraph here. Some of the words are underlined. So here, the underlined words are said to be adjectives here. Look at the underlined words. Major, rural, urban, busy, polluted, peaceful, relaxed. These are underlined, they are adjectives in this small paragraph. When we look at the definition of an adjective or the function of an adjective and look back to that paragraph which has been given, an adjective is a word which qualifies a noun or pronoun and indicates the quality, kind, quantity, number, etc. in a sentence. Simply saying, an adjective describes a noun or pronoun. We talk about the qualities of a person. We talk about the quantity of something. We talk about the kind of something, quantity of something, number of something. And all these words which are related to qualities, quantities, kind, number, etc. are said to be adjectives in English. An adjective describes or tells something about a noun or pronoun in a sentence. So because we talk about the qualities and all these kinds of things in society. Look at the kinds of adjectives here. We have various kinds of adjectives as we had various kinds of pronouns we discussed in the earlier session. We have adjectives of quality, adjectives of quantity, numerical adjectives, demonstrative adjectives, distributive adjectives, interrogative adjectives. One important point we have to keep in mind here is, while discussing pronouns, we discussed the demonstrative pronouns, distributive pronouns, interrogative pronouns. Even while discussing adjectives also, we come across these terms. The pronouns can also be used as adjectives. Demonstrative pronouns, distributive pronouns, interrogative pronouns can also be used as demonstrative adjectives, distributive adjectives, and interrogative adjectives. Let's go deep into these items and discuss how we can discriminate as a pronoun and adjective in detail. Let's have a look at the first type of adjectives, that is adjectives of quality. As I have just told you, adjective describes the quality of a person, quality of a noun or pronoun which is mentioned in a particular sentence. Look at the examples here. Abdul Kalam is a famous scientist. Chandar is an eloquent speaker. It's a wide street. There's a tremendous response to the program. We should drink purified water. The road is uneven. If we discuss the details of these sentences, the very first sentence, Abdul Kalam is the noun of the first sentence. Abdul Kalam is a scientist. The word which is underlined in this sentence is famous. The word famous describes what kind of man Abdul Kalam is. Famous indicates the quality of Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam is a scientist. What kind of scientist is he? He is a famous scientist. So the word famous describes about the noun, that is Abdul Kalam. Look at another sentence. Chandar is an eloquent speaker. Chandar is a speaker, of course. But what kind of speaker Chandar is? He is an eloquent speaker. Chandar is a speaker, and this eloquent describes what kind of speaker Chandar is. Eloquent describes the quality of Chandar. It's a wide street. Street is a noun, and this wide denotes what kind of street it is. There is tremendous response to the program. Response is a noun, but what kind of response is there to the program? Tremendous response is there. This wonderful response is there. Interesting response is there. Overwhelming response is there to the program. So these words like this. So tremendous can be replaced by any other word which describes about the response. We should drink purified water. What kind of water? Purified water. Warm water. Cool water. Cold water. So purified describes what kind of water we should drink. So purified is the adjective of this particular noun, that is water. The road is uneven. The word uneven describes how the road is, what kind of road it is. So this is how, when we look at the meaning of each and every sentence, we have nouns and pronouns, and the words underlined in the sentences describe what kind of noun or pronoun they are. They describe the quality of the mentioned nouns in the sentences and examples. So here, based on these explanation, we can understand that an adjective describes or tells something about the quality of a noun or pronoun. Look at another important point related to adjectives. Present and past participle of verbs can be used as adjectives. We have three forms of functional verbs: present tense, past tense, and past participle form, and present participle form. Present participle form is nothing but ing form of the verb. Past participle form of the verb is nothing but the third form of the verb. This third form of the verb and ing form of the verb can also be used as adjectives in sentences. So here we have a few examples. They drew our attention with their pleasing manners. Please is a verb. If we add ing to this verb please, it becomes pleasing. They drew our attention with their pleasing manners. What kind of manners they have drawn our attention with? Pleasing manners. So manners is a noun form, and the word pleasing describes what kind of manners they have exhibited. A smiling face has a positive impact. What kind of face? A face has a positive impact. If we take that example, what kind of face? Is it a smiling face, or a sad face, or a gloomy face, a sullen face? A smiling face. A smiling face has a positive impact. Face is a noun, and smiling face is, the whole smiling face can be taken as the subject of the sentence. So The word smiling, the present participle form of that word smile denotes what kind of face has a positive impact. Smiling face. So smiling is an adjective, face is a noun form. Manners is a noun, pleasing is an adjective. It's a trodden path. Trodden is the third form of the verb tread. Tread, trod, trodden. As I have explained in the very beginning, present participle and past participle forms of the verbs can be used as adjectives. It's a trodden path. Trodden in the sense walked, which has been used by people. What kind of path? It's a trodden path, unused path, untrodden path, or trodden path, used path, something like this. So this path, it's a trodden, it's path is a noun. What kind of path it is? It's a trodden path. Path indicates what kind of path it is in the sentence. So trodden describes the path here. Look at another example. Known places don't give us much pleasure. We know when we go to unknown places, we seek a lot of pleasure. When we go to known places, we don't get much pleasure. Known places and unknown places. Unknown places, known places. Place is a noun, places is a noun, and known places, the word, the past participle form of the word know. Know, new, known. Know is the first form of the verb, new is the second form of the verb, known is the third form of the verb. Know is the present tense, know, new is past tense, known is past participle form of the verb know. So known places don't give us much pleasure. What kind of places? Known places. So known is the past participle form. It is describing what kind of places don't give us much pleasure. Look at another example. The child was scared of his frightened look. The child was scared of his look. What kind of look it was? It was a frightened look. So the word frightened and frightened. V1, V2, V3, V3, present tense, past tense and past participle form of the word frightened. So frightened look. Look is a noun. This frightened V3 form of this verb is describing what kind of look it is. There is another example here on the slide. There is an unexpected turn in the event. Unexpected. It's forgotten to underline. Unexpected turn. Turn is a noun. What kind of turn it is? It is an unexpected turn. Expected turn, unexpected turn. This word unexpected describes the noun turn in this sentence. So the unexpected is telling something about turn. That is why unexpected is an adjective form. Here, what we have to remember is the present participle form means ing form of the verb, past participle form, that is third form of the verb or V3 form of the verb, can also be used as adjectives. That is what we have to remember. We come across the usage of these kinds of adjectives in day-to-day communication on a number of occasions. While reading something, also when we read something, a written composition, also we find the usage of the past participle forms, present participle forms used as adjectives in writing. Look at the second type of adjective, that is adjectives of quantity. We have discussed a type of indefinite pronouns in the earlier sessions, like few, a few, little, a little, some, any, like this. So these indefinite pronouns can also be used as adjectives here. Simple thing we have to remember. When these, how to discriminate between a pronoun and an adjective. When these words are immediately followed by a noun, they are said to be adjectives because they qualify the nouns that they follow. But whereas when they are immediately followed by either a helping verb or a verb, they are pronouns. For example, a few are present. A few are present. A few is the subject of that particular sentence. It is immediately followed by a helping verb are. A few implies here a few members, a few people, a few villagers, a few members, or something like this. So that is the subject of that particular sentence. When it is followed immediately by a noun like this, there are a few cases of COVID-19. A few cases. How many cases? Cases is a noun. When a few is immediately followed by a noun like cases, it qualifies the noun cases here. So a few is an adjective in this sentence. Look at another sentence on the slide. They have a little hope on the survival. They have a little hope of his survival. Little hope, a little hope. Hope is a noun. How much hope they have? A little hope. A little is enough. For example, you take that here while discussing adjectives, some kind of adjectives like this, indefinite adjectives, a little is enough. In that sentence, a little is the subject of that sentence. It is immediately followed by a helping verb, is. So, a little is the subject of that sentence. A little is a noun, we can say. And whereas here, a little hope. So, a little hope. Hope is a noun here. Hope is immediately preceded by a little. So, a little qualifies the noun hope here in this sentence. So, a little becomes an adjective. Another example also makes it more clear. I want some money to start my business. Some is also used as a pronoun, indefinite pronoun. Some are lazy, some are active, some have attended. In those sentences, some is a pronoun. Whereas here, the same word some is immediately followed by a noun, money. I want some money to start my business. Money is a noun. It is preceded by some. So some becomes an adjective here because some describes how much money I need to start my business. It is qualifying the noun money here. So some becomes an adjective. You can take any book for reference. Book is a noun and any is an adjective here. I have enough strength to fight against unethical practices. Strength is a noun. Strength is preceded by enough. So enough is an adjective here because enough tells something about strength, which is a noun here. So these are some of the adjectives of quantity. A few, a little, few, little, some, many, any, enough. They can be used as pronouns and adjectives here. Here we have used it in the form of adjectives. Look at adjectives of number. They can also be called as numerical adjectives. Numerical itself implies numbers. Numbers can be used as adjectives. For example, all human beings have equal right on the earth. Human beings is a noun. All human beings. All, this word, all qualifies human beings here. So all becomes an adjective. As we have discussed just now, all can also be used as a pronoun. All are present. In that sentence, all is the subject of that sentence. It is also functioning as the noun of that sentence. So pronoun of that sentence. So all is immediately followed by the helping verb are in that sentence. All are present. Whereas in this sentence, all human beings have equal right on the earth. Human beings is preceded by all. Human beings is a noun. It is this word all qualifies or tells something about human beings. Number of that human beings. How many human beings have equal right? All human beings. So all qualifies human beings. So all is an adjective here. Function is different here. In some cases, it can be used as a pronoun, and here it can also be used as an adjective here. There are 29 states in India. 29 states in India. 29. 20 is a number. 29 is a number. States is a noun. How many states are there in India? And states, the word states, which is a noun, is preceded by the number 29 because it indicates how many states, tells something about the states. So 29 becomes the adjective. It is a numerical adjective. So here, this is how we can qualify them. This is how we can describe and understand the function of an adjective. He is the first man to identify the species. First man. Man is a noun. Whether he is a first man or second man, later, last man, the very word first indicates the word tells something about man. That is why first is an adjective here. Many participants have actually responded. As I have just told you, many and some can also be used as pronouns. Many are absent. Many are innocent. Many are wise. Many are educated. In those sentences, the word many is the subject of those sentences. So many is the immediately followed by the helping verb like many have been absent, many are absent, many were absent. So many are illogical, many are ethical, many are moral, many are positive. So like this we can use them. In those sentences, the word many is functioning as the pronoun. It is a subject and it is a pronoun there. Likewise, we also have another word like some. Some books are to be read in detail. Some are present. Some are absent. Some have turned up. Some have opposed. Some have condemned. We can make use of this in a number of ways. In those sentences, some is a pronoun there. Some is functioning as the subject of those sentences. So some becomes the pronoun there. So it is immediately followed by a helping verb like some were, some are, some have, some present, like this. When it is immediately followed by a helping verb like this, it becomes a pronoun. When it is immediately followed by a noun, it becomes the adjective. So this is how we have to discriminate, because you are supposed to identify, once we know the usage of functioning of the adjectives, pronouns, nouns, adverbs, we can construct grammatically correct sentences. Construction of grammatically correct sentences becomes a problem for most of the students. So for construction of grammatically correct sentences, the meaning of the words, usage of the words, function of the words, is forms of the words, they're all very important. That is why I have given you some examples here for your reference, and I have also explained in detail how the same words can be, indefinite pronouns can be used as pronouns and adjectives, and how can we discriminate between a pronoun and as an adjective. Look at another type of adjectives, that is demonstrative adjectives. We have discussed demonstrative pronouns in the previous sessions. This, that, these and those, they are said to be demonstrative pronouns and demonstrative adjectives. Function, based on the function we have to discriminate whether they are used as pronouns and adjectives. As I have just explained, when this, that, these, those are immediately followed by a helping verb, it implies that they are the subjects of those sentences. This is enough. For example, this is the subject of that sentence. It's immediately followed by the helping verb is. Whereas here, this house is very comfortable. In this sentence, this is immediately followed by a noun house. House precedes this. So this is qualifying house. Which house? This house. So it is telling something about house, whether it is this house or that house or something like that. So this qualifies house. So this is an adjective here. That road leads to high-tech city. Which road leads to high-tech city? That road leads to high-tech city. That is a wide road. That is an uneven road. That is an even road. That is the road which leads to high-tech city. In those sentences, that is a pronoun. And whereas here, that is followed by a noun, road, then that becomes an adjective here. These mangoes are ripe. These are mangoes. In these are mangoes, this is a pronoun. This is the subject of that sentence. But whereas here, these mangoes are ripe, mangoes is noun. Which mangoes are ripe? These mangoes are ripe. So these qualifies or tells something about mangoes. These mangoes are ripe. Those mangoes are ripe. Those vegetables are rotten. Which vegetables are rotten? Those vegetables are rotten. We are trying to point out something and tell something which vegetables are rotten. So those tell something about vegetables. So that is why those becomes an adjective here. So this is how we can also discriminate between demonstrative pronouns and demonstrative adjectives. So only the function differs here. When they are used as demonstrative adjectives, they tell something about nouns, and whereas in demonstrative pronouns, they are the subjects of those particular sentences. Usage is very important when we want to learn how to use them. Likewise, we also have distributive adjectives. We have learnt about distributive pronouns, each, either, neither in the earlier sessions. Same is the case here. Same explanation functions works here. When each has an important role to play. For example, in that sentence, each is the subject of that sentence. It's followed by has a helping verb. So it is the pronoun and subject of that sentence. Each man has a role to play. Man is a noun. Each man. We agreed with neither group. Group is a noun. It is neither qualifies the word noun group here. Either way it is right. Each member is responsible for the crisis. Each is responsible for the crisis. Each member is responsible for the crisis. Look at the difference between these two sentences. Each member is responsible for this crisis, or each is responsible for the crisis. In each is responsible for the crisis, each is the subject. Whereas in each member is responsible for the crisis, each member is the subject of that sentence. In each member is preceded by the word each. So each qualifies the noun member. So each becomes an adjective here. So this is how we have to discriminate and understand the difference between a pronoun and as an adjective, because usage is very important. Look at another type of adjectives, interrogative adjectives. We have learnt about interrogative pronouns. Interrogative pronouns are nothing but the words, question words, which refer to persons and things. For example, who, what, which, whose. Who, what, which, whose. They can be used both as pronouns and adjectives. Same explanation functions here, of course. What kind of adjective is it? What do you want? Look at the difference between these two. What is needed for learning English? What is important for learning English? In that sentence, what is the subject of that sentence, and that is functioning as the pronoun. Whereas in this sentence, what kind of adjective is it? Kind is a noun. What kind? Which blood group is required? Blood group is a noun. Which blood group? It is qualifying the noun blood group, so which becomes an adjective. Whose house is that? Whose is that? Whose house is that? Look at the difference between these two sentences. Whose is that? Whose house is that? House is a noun here. So it is preceded by the adjective whose here. Which dish do you like most? This is a noun here, which is an adjective here. So this is how we have to discriminate between pronouns and adjectives. Most of the students get confused. So here it is very clear. I have made it very clear. Simple. It's very simple. When these are immediately followed by nouns, they function as adjectives. When they are immediately followed by helping verbs or verbs, they function as the subjects of those sentences, so they are pronouns. This is how we have to understand whether they are the pronouns or adjectives. It's very easy to understand with this simple explanation. And here, as part of your syllabus, after having discussed various types of pronouns here, one interesting thing we have to remember here is the forms of the words are very important. The whole dictionary consists of, when you refer an Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary or Longman's Dictionary or Collins Coble's Dictionary, any standard English dictionary, beside every word, we have the phonetic transcription of that word. And beside that phonetic transcription, we also have the forms of those words. Whether the word given or mentioned there is a verb, noun, adjective, adverb, or it is a preposition, conjunction, or something like that. And they are written in abbreviation form. V, verb, ADJ, adjective, ADV, adverb, N means noun, PREP, preposition, PRON, pronoun, something like this. So this is what we have to understand, because reference to dictionary is also very important. And another most important point we have to remember here is, for establishing correctness of English language, for developing correct language, English language, forms of words are very important. Unless we know the forms of words, we get confused with the usage of words. We should make it a practice to learn whenever we come across any unknown word or known word for that matter, we should immediately try to know what the other forms of the words are. If we have an idea about all the forms of the words, whatever word we come across, then the usage of those words becomes very easy. Most of the students we come across today, they don't know the forms of the words. They don't know how to use them, because as a noun, as an adjective, as an adverb, as a verb, these forms are very important, because unless we know the forms, because each form has got its own function and usage. Unless we know the forms, how can we construct sentences? It's very difficult. And the very construction of sentences becomes a problem for most of the students if we don't know the forms of the words. So that is how here, as part of your model paper, we have prescribed. So we have to construct sentences. A few sentences, 5 sentences are given, and words are underlined. You have to write the adjective forms of the words. It's an exercise. And this question carries 5 marks in your examination. And a sentence is given, one of the words in the sentence is underlined, the adjective form of the underlined word is to be written by you. So keeping that in view, I have given you I have explained the importance of the forms of words and where to find them. And in standard Oxford Learners, Advanced Learners Dictionary, you also have, beside every word, you have the form, and usage of each and every word is also given. How it is being used as a noun, as a verb, as an adjective, as an adverb. Usage is very important. When it is being mentioned in a standard dictionary like that, we can understand how important the usage is. Mere knowing the forms of the words is not enough, and usage is also very important. And this is all, one follows the other. One is interlinked to the other. Keeping that in view only, the standard dictionaries make a mention of the forms and usage of those forms of words. And that is how, because basically, the knowing the forms of the words is very important. Keeping that in view, we have made it part of your model paper. You are supposed to write the adjective form of the underlined word. Underlined word may be a verb form or a noun form or an adverb form. In the forthcoming semesters, we'll ask you it some other way, of course. But here, In first semester, you are expected to write the adjective forms of the underlined words. Underlined word may be any form, of course. For example, they have given you a few words here for reference as to how they can be understood. For example, verb, adjective, adverb, noun. One more important point we have to keep in mind is all words don't have these four forms. Some words have only few forms like adverb, adjective, or noun form. They don't have verb forms. Some words don't have noun forms. And like this, we have given you some examples here. Look at, for example, a word like beautify. Beautify is a verb form. Beautiful is an adjective form. Beautifully is an adverb. Beauty is a noun. Look at another word, neat. Neat doesn't have a verb form. Neatly is an adverb, neatness is noun. Brave doesn't have verb form. Brave is an adjective, bravely is an adverb, bravery is noun form. Gladden is a verb, glad is adjective, gladly is an adverb form, gladness is a noun form. Look at another example, eager. Eager doesn't have verb form. Eagerly is an adverb. Eagerness is a noun form. Inform, informative, informatively is to be written here, and noun form is not there. Information, it's there, it is not mentioned. Courageous, courageously, courage. It doesn't have verb form. Happy is an adjective, happily is an adverb, happiness is noun. One common feature you can understand here. Most of the adverbs are most of the adverbs are formed by adding ly or ily to adjective forms. Beautiful, beautifully. Neat, neatly, ly. Brave, bravely. By adding ly, it has become an adverb. You can easily identify. Eager, eagerly. And courageous, courageously. Happy, happily, ily. This is one important point you have to remember while learning adverbs also, because they are interlinked with one another, adjectives and adverbs. And another important point you have to remember while learning nouns also. Nouns, most of the noun forms of the words I have already told you while dealing with noun forms. Abstract nouns we have discussed. Nouns which cannot be seen and touched but can only be imagined and felt are said to be abstract nouns in English grammar. And most of the abstract nouns end with ity or ty, ness, ry, ess, something like this. Neatness, bravery, gladness, neatness, happiness, and ion, tion, something like that. We can easily identify. Identification of words is very important, because once you are able to identify, you will learn how to use them. Once you are able to identify whether they are adjectives, adverbs, nouns, or verbs, and then your learning follows, because they are all prior to our learning only. Prior to writing something, prior to speaking something, you are expected to learn all these kinds of things in English language, because they play a very important role in learning English language. Grammar is nothing but the correctness of accuracy of language is being tested in grammar, and that correctness is learnt only by framing like this, by practicing like this. Look at some other words here. Interesting, interestingly, interest. It doesn't have any verb form. Interesting is an adjective, interestingly is an adverb, interest is noun. Attend is verb, attentive is an adjective, attentively, attention. Ready is a verb. The same word can also be used as an adjective. Usage is different, of course. He is readied. In that sentence, it is a verb here. He is ready. It's an adjective here. Readily, readiness. Decorate, decorative, decoratively, decoration. So here, one more interesting thing. It's a very funny thing, a very interesting thing to learn all these kinds of things, because some words can be used both as nouns and verbs. Some words can be used as both as adjectives and adverbs. Like a word like fast is there. Time constraints don't permit us to discuss in detail, of course. The word fast is an adjective. The same word can be used as an adverb. He is going fast. They are running fast. They are eating fast. In those sentences, the word fast is an adverb. Fast running, fast eating, fast food. We talk about fast food today. Junk food, like junk food. In fast food is not good for health. Food is a noun, so fast is an adjective. Fast eating, ing form of verb can also be used as adjectives and nouns, gerunds. When they are used as nouns, they are said to be gerunds. Fast eating is not good for health. Eating is taken as a noun there. And what kind of eating? Fast eating. So fast is an adjective there. So like this, there are various other things to be learnt by learning in detail about all these kinds of things. So after having learnt all these things, we have to follow the question paper pattern. They have, as I have just told you, look at the exercise how it is being given in the examination. Write the adjective forms of the underlined words in the following sentences. This is how you are asked, you are tested in the examination. I have confidence in my decision. The word confidence is underlined here. You are supposed to write the adjective form of the word confidence here. So he is going with high speed. Speed is underlined here. Tiredness tempts us to sleep for a while. Curiosity generates interest to learn. Melody of our tone will draw them towards us. There's a lot of brightness on his face. Look at these words. In the first sentence, I have confidence in my decision. Confident is an adjective form. Confidence is noun. Confidently is adverb. It doesn't have the verb form. He is going with high speed. Speed is a noun form here. Speedy, speedy. Speed driving, we talk about speed driving. Speedy is an adjective form. Tiredness is a noun form. Tired is an adjective form. We have to write tired. Curiosity, curious. Curious is an adjective form. Curiosity is a noun form. Melody is a noun form. Melodious. Lata Mangeshkar is a melodious singer. Singer is a noun form. Melodious is adjective form. Whereas melody, melody of her tone. Melody of her tone. That is a noun form. There's a lot of brightness on his face. Brightness is noun. Brightly is adverb. Bright is adjective form. So this is how can we improve all these kinds of things? Practice alone will help you to develop what the noun form, what the adjective form, adverb form, verb form of particular words are in English language. So this is a very interesting and topic to be borne in mind. These are all very important points to be borne in mind because they will help us in correct communication, whether it is oral communication or written communication. And one more interesting thing we have to bear in mind is in every examination, right from intermediate first year to any competitive examination, we have correction of sentences. Correction of sentences are aimed at testing the correctness, accuracy of writing or learning of English language of the candidates. So when we want to form correct sentences, accurate sentences, grammatically correct sentences, all these play a very important role. We have correction of sentences even in UG first year, first semester, second semester, third semester, and fourth semester. We will discuss all these things in detail while discussing, while learning, while going ahead with the topic correction of sentences, of course. But unless we have an idea about all these kinds of things, we cannot learn correction of sentences in isolation. Correction of sentences cannot be learned in isolation, of course. They are linked to all types of grammar. They may be related to nouns or pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, verbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, articles, anything for that matter. So keeping that in view, we have started discussing all these kinds of things, right? Beginning from nouns. And in each and every topic, we are supposed to learn the rules and regulations of the usage of each part of speech so that our correction of sentences becomes easy, construction of sentences becomes very easy, and then we can easily acquire proficiency in English language. So with this, we have discussed a few things about adjectives here, and we should learn that, we should bear in mind and remember that adjectives are words which describe or tell something about nouns and pronouns in a particular sentence. And while talking about discussing all these kinds of things, very important point we have to remember here is it's very easy to identify an adjective in a sentence. Simple, very simple. If we just question what kind of, how, or something like that, what kind of man he is, he's a famous. R.K. Narayan is a famous writer. What kind of man is R.K. Narayan? R.K. Narayan is a noun. What kind of man? He's a famous. What kind of writer? He's a famous writer. It's a wide street. What kind of street it is? If we question the noun in that particular sentence, we can easily identify the adjective in that word, particular word. And one more interesting thing is, when we want to describe something in spoken communication, we can use a number of adjectives because we want to tell something about them. If you want to describe something about them, if you want to depict something, explain something about them, adjectives come to our rescue, and adjectives will help us to tell more and more and more and make our speech or writing very interesting. This is the role of the function of adjectives. And try to refer dictionary and note down each and every word. Whenever you come across any word, whether it is a known word or unknown word, make it a point, know the forms of the words, and make it a point to note down them in your notebooks, the each and every form of the word, that is noun form, verb form, adjective form, adverb form. Because all words may not have all these four forms, of course, but whatever kind of form it is, when you just come across a sentence, you should be able to identify how it is being used. As I have just explained you, the discrimination between pronouns and adjectives, you can also easily identify. It becomes a funny thing and interesting thing for you. English becomes a fun, learning becomes a fun to you. So with these very few important points, I will conclude, and let's go ahead with other points, other particular topics related to your syllabus in the forthcoming sessions. Thank you.